Today is a very special episode. We have some breaking news going on in the NFT space, and we also have a very special announcement on our Parallax NFT project coming out. First thing we're gonna talk about is Yuga Labs, founder of Bored Ape Yacht Club, is acquiring or has already acquired Cryptopunks and Meebits, founded by Larva Labs. And this is absolutely huge. Now, if you don't know Bored Ape Yacht Club, they are one of the biggest NFT projects that really pushed the industry forward and really got NFTs more into the eyes of the mainstream, right? And everyone's making these jokes about these bored apes. Why does it cost, a few $100,000, right? This is that company. And so Yuga Labs is the company that kind of created Bored Apes. And you want to think of Yuga Labs at this point as almost like a holding company that holds like all these different brands. Now they have Bored Ape Yacht Club, they have Mutant Ape Yacht Club, they have Bored Kennel Club, and they also have Meebits and Cryptopunks. So what's exactly happening here? Well, they're acquiring Cryptopunks and Meebits, as well as acquiring the copyright to the art, all the IP rights for both collections, and also all the Cryptopunks and the Meebits that I think Larva Labs was holding for over time. So how big is this deal? I'm not even gonna guess, right? Hundreds of millions, billions? I'm not even sure at this point because Cryptopunks is like the go-to project blue chip. So what's gonna be happening after this acquisition? Well, according to Yuga Labs, they're not trying to like directly integrate it under Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're gonna try to push it as two separate brands, similar to how Disney owns like Marvel and like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and they also have like Star Wars. They could be separate brands under the same umbrella. By acquiring Cryptopunks and Meebits, they are also going to figure out the legal structure to grant commercial rights similar to Bored Ape Yacht Club, where you can actually use your NFT and make money from it. Of course, I think after $1 million, you have to like negotiate some sort of deal, but at least people have that option. And if people build an entire brand, let's say on Twitter, using their Cryptopunk, well, there's a legal agreement that you have to go through in order to continue to use that moving forward. And the interesting thing that I thought about was that why did Larva Labs sell this to Yuga Labs? In the NFT space, this is very similar to like the app space and tech space before, where there's this gold rush, there's this huge surge of demand and not much supply. So like anybody, like the 18-year-old kid can like make an NFT and it just sells out because the demand is so high. But because they sell out a collection and people have it and they respect it, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle. It doesn't mean that they can actually grow a brand for the long term, because that actually takes business discipline and like operational skills. So I think for Larva Labs, if they don't really want to run that huge conglomerate kind of business, they can just keep doing what they're doing, creating things, selling it to Yuga Labs and go along for the ride, right? Like a good entrepreneur who starts a business is not necessarily the person who can actually take a company public, for example, right? And during this acquisition, what's interesting is that the volume for Cryptopunks just absolutely exploded because of this acquisition. I guess people are very bullish on Cryptopunks because Yuga Labs acquired them. Even when we look at Bored Ape Yacht Club, the prices for the floor just crazily increased from like 70 all the way to 100, which is quite a lot. And then we see Mutant Ape Yacht Club, which is the next tier, blowing up as well, going back to the 20 floor average sale. And then now we're looking at Bored Ape Kennel Club, which usually typically follows what the mutants do, and you can see the sales are starting to go up now. And I would say that because it went from, let's say, like 5 ETH all the way to 8, there was a pump, but in my opinion, there's a possibility that Bored Ape Kennel Club might be a good entry point moving forward if you're able to hold it for the long term. Not financial advice, but just my opinion. Next project we're gonna be talking about is Bapetaverse, and I believe this is, according to their Twitter, and this is actually the official NFT of Bape, the clothing brand, right? And Bape is like a huge company. Them entering in the NFT space is pretty cool, but the issue that I see, and it's not just me, but like everybody who's a Bape fan and everyone who's kind of watching this project, they're a little disappointed with the art. It's just like a floating head with an ape essentially. And honestly, the art's not very good. Like we've seen other 3D projects that were literally cash grabs, in my opinion, had better art than this, and this is Bape. So if this is actually truly the official Bape collaboration, I would say it's a little underwhelming. For me, this is kind of an example of, let's say, a big company just hires a small team to put this together, and it's not really that good. So hopefully they turn things around, because they have a large brand, they have a lot of eyeballs, they have a lot of attention, and they built up so much trust over the years. But maybe it will sell because people are diehard Bape fans, but not really feeling the art, but just want to put that out there. Next project we're going to be talking about is also in the streetwear space, and that is Karafuru. And over time, Karafuru is definitely growing on me. I actually just picked one up at 2.25 ETH. They had a recent update, the collaboration with Hypebeast and Atmos, right? Hypebeast is one of the largest publications for streetwear and men's fashion, or not even just men's and women's fashion at this point. And Atmos, which is a large Japanese retailer, but they're doing a 3D project. This is actually looking pretty sick. Like we referenced before, we saw like Bapetaverse or whatever, right? They went into the NFT space and the quality of the product wasn't that good. But from this silhouette, I mean, obviously they kind of like put the shadow on, so it's like a teaser. But I'm pretty confident it's gonna be good because we've seen Karafuru over deliver when it comes to the quality quality of their art, and I'm pretty sure that they're gonna do it again, especially if they're gonna be doing a collaboration with Hypebeast and Atmos, because there's gonna be a lot of attention to it. You know, that's why I picked up a Karafuru, because, you know, I was anticipating that this project was gonna be good. Is it a good entry price to get in at 2.7? I'm not really sure, because, you know, right now it's kind of like a bearish market. Could the price dip again? Probably, right? But you never want to really buy the news, because, you know, sometimes it just falls back again. But in the long run, for me personally, I'm pretty bullish on Karafuru, and I plan to hold for a while, and I plan to get one of these 3D projects as well, but obviously do your own research. And not only that, but I'm also going to Jakarta for the Karafuru Carnival Festival kind of thing. So if you're in Jakarta, hit me up on Twitter and, you know, let me know who I should meet. In other NFT news, the Ukraine is going to launch an NFT and mark history of the Russian invasion. This is actually pretty crazy, because, you know, a lot of people are donating millions of dollars to Ukraine to help them with their struggles and things like that, right? And I'm not gonna go too deep into the politics, because, you know, I'm an NFT guy. I'm not really like well versed in politics, so I'll leave that to the other YouTubers. But essentially, they are raising money for their NFT, right? And so Alex, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. He's the Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine on IT development. So he, I suppose, is in charge of the NFT stuff. And it looks like they've been collecting a lot of funds through Crypto Fund in Ukraine. This is crazy, because if you think about it, like when you buy into an NFT project, they're like, here's how we spent the money. This is our roadmap. And then this is like, oh yeah, you know, we bought 5,000 bulletproof vests. We bought, you know, these medicine things. We bought, you know, helmets and stuff like that. It's interesting that they're transparent with the way they're purchasing things. This is actually a really interesting example of like how NFTs and crypto in general can kind of change the world of how people operate. If we were talking about like, you know, donating, and someone was like, hey, we're gonna raise money and you're gonna get an NFT. Like if we were talking about that 2 years ago, that would sound crazy. But now it's like, oh, that totally makes sense, right? The beauty about NFTs is like it's borderless. You know, you don't need any permissions. Doesn't matter if a country like shuts down, you know, blocks your bank or whatever. Like crypto, nobody can really block it because it's so decentralized. Really interesting to see as a use case. Now in other news, we're gonna talk about the Parallax NFT, right? So this is gonna be the first time I'm gonna be talking about it on YouTube. So what we're doing at the Parallax, right? Obviously, we've been creating a lot of free content for you guys. We've been doing the Discords, we've been giving you guys free alpha, we've been giving a lot of free whitelists to show you our potential, to show you what we're capable of, even without selling any NFTs, right? Doing it for free for the community. But we're launching an NFT. It's gonna be an alpha pass that's really just stacked with utility. Not only that, but then we're also doing it as an alpha pass that is a beautiful PFP. Now, I'm not gonna give you any leaks right now, because, you know, we're really working on the art, and I'm doing the creative direction for it myself actually. But I can personally say that art is going to look spectacular. If you wanna get more leaks about our NFT and learn more about like what's going on, make sure to join our Discord. Link is in the description to find out how you might be able to get whitelisted. Next project we are going to be talking about is going to be the Littles. So some news that they recently came out with is they launched a clothing line. They have an online store, shop.littles, and you know, they're really going for that streetwear edgy kind of vibe, which is kind of interesting, right? Because at first when you kind of look at the Littles, it's like more like cutesy, and it's like, oh, a playground for adults, right? And then they totally just, I guess, change directions in a sense, and they're like, okay, now we're gonna go streetwear, because maybe that's just what's popular. And I guess the designs are easier to do, and it's more palatable for people, right? Because I can see like they're kind of going for that cause kind of vibe, where it's like a toy, it's not so serious, but at the same time, it's like for adults. So they're making skateboards as well, kids clothes, t-shirts. Personally, you know, looking at the clothes, it's definitely minimal. It's pretty good, I would say, for, you know, when we're talking about like the standard of an NFT clothing collection. T-shirts are looking all right. I think these are only available for the Littles holders, right? You know, interesting that they're coming out with a merchandise line, but the thing that's really getting me curious is that, you know, when the Littles came out, they're like this 2D NFT project, and then they're like, no promises of what we're gonna do, we're just gonna try our best to deliver something amazing. I feel like because there's a lack of communication of what they wanna do for the long term, it almost feels like they don't really know what they want to do, and that's okay too, because the space is so new, everything changes, I get it. But like when there's a lack of clear vision, I feel for some people who want to buy in, or some people that hold, there is a hesitation of like, is this going to increase in value? Because did people necessarily buy a Little for a few $1,000s so that they can have an opportunity to buy merch? I don't know, right? But some people who are the diehard Little fans, sure, they're gonna buy the merch. I think what they can do better, in my opinion, is like have a clear direction of where they're trying to go, right? Are they trying to build a game? Are they trying to be a metaverse brand? Are they trying to do a clothing brand? Are they trying to do everything and not necessarily be good at everything, but kind of be well-rounded, right? So the messaging is not clear. Let me know in the comments if you want me to reach out to the founder, because, well, it seems like a really nice guy. I would be really curious to know like what their long-term plans are. The next project is going to be Acrocalypse. You see me talk about them before. I personally don't hold any right now. I think the price is a little high, but but we're gonna talk about it real quick. When I first talked about it, I think it was at 0.2 ETH, now it's at 0.5, even during a bear market. Why is a 2D picture profile project, just like every other 2D picture profile project, is holding up a 0.5 ETH floor when it's just like these crocodiles, right? And the reason is because it's more like they're a software company with a crocodile in the front to attract people to come in the door. Yeah, that's how I see it, right? So if you go on the Acrocalypse Twitter page, you can see that they build tools like Paper Hands GG, and they're also trying to build different NFT tools to help you manage your NFTs, track your NFTs, what's the value of your NFT, right? And so they're listening to what the demand is for their consumers, building it and saying like, hey guys, if that's what you want, we're gonna build it, but to get access to this, you're gonna have to buy an Acrocalypse, right? And we've seen this with other tools, like for example, you see me use IC Tools all the time on this channel, and I think it's a great tool. And I personally bought the IC Tools lifetime membership pass because I didn't want to pay a subscription, right? And for me, I paid like 0.3 ETH or 0.4 ETH, and it's absolutely worth it. So if Acrocalypse builds tools that has utility that I actually want to use, then it makes sense for me to just buy the NFT, have it increase in value, and not have to pay a subscription, because when I want to sell it, when I'm done with it, or maybe want to change softwares, I can sell it and I'm like, oh, I just used that software for like 6 months for free, right? That's why I feel like Acrocalypse, if they do build good tools in the future, and we haven't seen like the other tools that they promised quite yet, I can see the value of it going high because it's literally like a software company, All right, next project we are going to be talking about is going to be LVCIDIA by Fvckrender. Now, there have been a couple updates since the last time I talked about this project, and personally, I'm pretty excited for this to come out. We've seen some of the 3D renders that they're putting out, super sick. Obviously, Fvckrender is, has been known as an NFT artist for quite some time, and stuff he puts out really hits a nerve. Like, this is what people want to see. I believe these are the one-of-one avatars. These are actually pretty high quality. It's not like you just like put it together and it's like, oh, this is a PFP project. Like, I can see they're spending a lot of time and resources to make this, and it probably takes like a lot of different like 3D artists to put all these things together. The mint date for LVCIDIA is going to be March 27th, and the mint price is going to be 0.469 ETH. So definitely not cheap, especially with the quantity being almost 13,000. But everybody who has an F crystal, they're going to be able to mint one for free essentially, but there's some steps to do it. And if you go on their Twitter, they're going to have like, it feels like homework when I'm going through this, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But if you're interested in it, there's different ways to get it. There's like these essence crystals that you can burn, and then you get the NFT. But overall, I just want to share with you, like, this is going to be pretty hyped. I think Fvckrender really just built a really strong community around his name brand. And I think even without any promotion, he could probably sell this out by himself, especially because this is like the second thing, right? Because he had the F crystals, and now there's the avatar, and the art is actually really good. It's like fine art put into a PFP. So, overall, I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure to give it a follow. And so with that said, that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to follow me on Twitter to get my latest updates on the latest alpha, and I'll see you guys in the next one.